but I still feel like I'm responsible for explaining some of the similarities or differences to you guys. So, for the fellow developers, today I would like to make a comparison of what developers do and what marketers do. Actually, the working model or like the way of thinking sometimes could be very similar. It's transferable. So for developers, I know you guys do A/B testing. So it's A/B testing for algorithm, performance, user interface behaviors, and in marketing job also we do A/B testing. We do A/B testing for landing page performance, like the website click-through, or customer preference, which type of packaging you like, or pricing structure. How am I gonna charge you so that you are willing and happy to pay and don't think that you're buying something expensive? So that is the first thing. And also in developer job, you guys are debugging all the time to find where the system broke and fix it so the system can run successfully. So in marketer job, we also find debugging in many of our tasks, but we call it sales or marketing funnel diagnosis. This is funnel, usually you will see as a reverse triangle if you try to search this term. It is to find where potential customers drop. Like the customer read your website, but then they left. The customer read your website, they come in to browse the product details, then they left. So why? Figure out the why and how to best help them so the customer will buy. That is our debugging process. So in software development, you guys do system architecture, which provides a framework and constraints understanding for the whole development team to work together. Maybe I don't have the best definition, but basically it can be also compared precisely to the go-to-market strategy that you do for any small to medium to large company. So the team knows how to sell a product to which customers, in which markets, through which sales channels. So basically also a framework that allows teams to gather their head together. But finally, in developer, many of you are chasing performance metrics like latency, uptime, error rates, throughput. To be honest, I wrote this, but I don't know what it means at all. But then I know we also have KPI. We also have our performance metrics. Marketers, our performance metrics are like revenue, your income, how much money do you make? Service, monthly active users, how many users are using your app every month? Or in digital ads, we track a lot of like click-through rates, how many people have seen this ad versus how many people actually click because of the ad. So these kind of KPIs actually, in this level, it's interconnected with the developer's performance because, for example, if I want to have a service monthly active users of 10,000 people, but what if the service cannot even handle 10,000 people? So your service like how prepared is your service is also connected to how much you can do for the business. So this is why how I want to kind of simulate the two sides so that you know what are the transferable things together. Okay, next one. Okay, so next one a bit about myself. Yeah, if I have to use only one line, I am a startup marketer with a non-linear career path. So to many people's surprise, I graduated from a linguistic degree. So I was born and educated in Taiwan, so I went to National Taipei University, majored in foreign languages and applied linguistics, which basically means I learned English as a major, and I learned French as a minor. And I also learned some other languages, including Korean right now. In my last year, I went to Hong Kong for an exchange study. It was a very interesting period of the time as well. After that, I started working as a part of marketing. I actually didn't know what that is before I joined, but I worked as a database intern for the team. So that's kind of like started my tech job journey. I was doing product marketing and then doing full-time assistant project manager. I was in charge of one of the software, like an app, productivity app, internal projects, which kind of raised my interest about software itself, because the company itself, my first company, Acti, was a CCTV solution provider. So basically they made CCTV in the system. So it's more like hardware driven. So I decided to move a bit like upstream to see what else is the technology industry has to say. So then I joined the Institute for Information Industry, which is basically a government platform in Taiwan. And our goal is to basically maintain and enhance the country-to-country diplomatic relationship by offering or providing technology-based solutions to our diplomatically friendly countries. So my job will be like one day I will be receiving customers from Swatini, a South African country, and I took them to see how we build our highway system, how we manage our transportation information. But the other day I will be having a halal lunch with Middle East customers, and we'll be talking about later we're going to have a site visit to the emergency reaction center, because in Taiwan we have so many like natural disasters, typhoon, earthquake, anything, and then Middle East really had a lot they want to learn. That is a very interesting and fun job, and you get to kind of travel without actual traveling. And then there was a chance who came to me. Line in Taiwan, I assume that everyone knows Line, which is like neighbors, kids, or I don't know, like children, grandchildren in Taiwan. Is a very dominant messaging app in Taiwan. They have a new e-commerce department. They're looking for everyone who knows how to kind of basically solve the problem and get the ground and running. So I joined as a digital marketing manager and also one of the founding marketer for that specific e-commerce service. Line at that point was a very fast-growing, still at the startup like scope company. So everything was very fast-paced. And you get to know that as a messaging app company who has the pocket money, you will be very good. It will be very good to work as a marketing, because you have the money to spend. You have the resources that basically allow you to play. So like it's a great one for you. Like for example, in that specific job, I was doing B2B2C digital marketing. So basically every day you can test out your consumer marketing ideas towards millions of users every day. So it was a very like job that what can you do with resources? But then I went to a job where non-resources was given. So Lydia AI, my previous employer, was a Canadian startup. They wanted to start their market entry in Asia. They hired me as a first and the only marketer in the team. And that's when I kind of experienced what the actual startup life to be. What does it mean when there's no marketing budget? What does it mean when there's no network, no resources, no nothing? And how are you gonna work? Yeah. So I guess that's also why many of you guys are interested what it actually feels like to work in a startup, and that will kind of be a big context of my learning afterwards. And right now I work as a freelance marketing consultant / career counselor. I do believe that I have a very crooked and non-crooked career path, so that actually helps my counseling business as well. So throughout this experience, I have the pen and the game. So the game is I get to experience a variety of business models, organizational structure, company culture, and also the industry dynamics. Because I basically jump between government sectors, hardware, software, bigger startups, smaller startups, fintech, consumer tech, etc. But the pen is on. The pen is true. Like I have to say that every transition was like hard. Since we're like live streaming, yeah, it was very hard. But what did I learn? I actually learned a lot of things. I learned how to position my past experience to make myself sound relevant in everywhere that I want to go. and I know how to get an opportunity with limited knowledge and resources coming out from startup experience especially, and how to communicate effectively across functions. And by functions, I mean not only marketing towards the developer, but also marketing towards sales, marketing towards finance, or any other operational positions. So to zoom in a bit about the startup portfolio that I had, I didn't put logo here because I don't work for them anymore. But then I can give you more details about this company. This company is called Lydia AI. It's a Toronto headquartered Canadian health AI startup. When I joined, the company decided to go for the insurance tech area, basically life insurance instead of the P&C insurance. So the company wants to do is assess personal health risk with real data so people can easily be financially prepared for whatever health risk that they have. So the concept works more like, for example, I know that in Korea you guys can just easily consent your neighbor navigation data to your P&C company so that they can cover you with the car insurance easily. Same concept, we wanted to work with the insurtech as well. We wanted to work with the life insurance as well. And many of the Caucasian friends, they asked me, why do you need to do that? Like, because why would the market need that? But what is the very crucial difference between the Asia and non-Asia society is that here our out-of-pocket medical insurance or the expenses are very high. So people always go for commercial insurance to cover their health risks like cancer treatment and chronic diseases medications. So there's actually a huge market needs, and a lot of people, they don't have enough money or enough ability to plan their financial future. So for this startup, it was around like 30 to 40 people. I helped them for the product launch. I launched their first customer in Taiwan. And I do media operation, market expansion from Taiwan to South Korea and Japan. And I did founders branding as well, government relations. And some of these projects actually took me to Korea. So I came to Korea last year because the company actually joined a government program called KSGC. Probably some of the founders here have heard about it. So the KSGC program basically they require one personnel from each startup to be situated in Korea. So I was that person. So that basically brought me to Korea. So within the 4 years, with a team in Asia and also in Toronto, we grew from like a brand name that has zero media mention in Google search because basically rebranding. It's a whole new brand to become an insurtech thought leadership and one of the most active players in Asia. The startup is Series A+, and just right before I left the company, we got the strategic partnership with Philippines Tier 1 Telecom and financial groups. They have an investment arm who wanted to kind of leverage this technology in Philippines. So this is for Lydia AI. And the next one is actually the company that I'm doing marketing consulting for at the moment. It's called DIP, D-I-P-P. And they're currently going through rebranding as well, so I just don't use the logo. It's a SaaS and platform startup company going after the field of creative operations. So if you don't know what is creative operations, it means enterprise level creative management, from designing, coming up with the idea of what kind of marketing campaign that we want, to actually designing, to deployment, to all the sales channel, and to manage if you have a multi-market team. So this whole process, they have an end-to-end solution. And actually, although they're like going through rebranding, but recently they got acquired by a really major industry-leading group in Asia. So they really wanted to upgrade a lot of things, and they already have like worldwide brand customers, including like Estée Lauder, the suitcase brand Xiaomi, and Rimowa, and everything. Yeah. So I helped them to build a product launch PR just like 2 months ago. And right now, I'm helping to build the marketing strategy. So if you try to search their brand name, like it's under, like I'm still writing it, so the website is not ready yet. Yeah, and also I try to, so basically in this startup, I not only work directly with the founders, I work also with sales team, marketing team, and a bit of product team, just to understand what kind of process are they enabling. And I also help building an AI-based lead process automation to kind of fast-track their post-event follow-up workflow. So this is for the second company. So now we enter the session of talking about like startups. So when you talk about startups, usually we will categorize startups into 3 groups. The first one is technology innovation. The second thing is business model innovation. And the third one is to have the innovation on the both sides. So technology innovation, basically to kind of build up a new like skill set that no people have like used before, so that it transformed its industry use case. So OpenAI is a very obvious example. There wasn't OpenAI before, but after that people started to use it and to build things. And second thing is business model innovation, which means Netflix, the thing about their business is that video or film or movie isn't a new thing, but the way to watch it, the way to buy it, sell it, share it, is a new model. So by this we mean the business model innovation. And Tesla is a combination of both product side, the technology innovation, as well as the business model innovation. Like, of course, automated car, you know about that. And on the business model side, they actually wanted to remove the seller layer of the business, so that customer can just order a car from the car manufacturer. So this is what we mean by the 3 types of innovations. And second thing, once you have the idea, where does the funding come from? And I believe maybe like many of you have like more or less heard about these terms. And this is not like sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's just 5 types that I listed. So the first one is self-funded, that is very like self-explanatory. You have money, you have the support, and you self-funded the company. You don't, probably it's your family money, so that you basically don't have a new boss. But the other scenarios that you will have a new boss is to actually have an external investor. So second one, angel investor. They are basically the first external investor that put money into your idea. And the famous angel investor that I know recently is actually Naval Ravikant, an Indian, he is like entrepreneur slash investor slash book writer and everything. So basically angel investors, they will be very good at identifying very brilliant ideas that could change the world in the long-term future. However, nobody has seen that opportunity coming out at the moment. So these are angel investors. And then the third type, that probably also the most common type, will be venture capital, which in abbreviation people call that VC. So these VC, they are everywhere. You can try to Google VC in Korea, VC in Asia, and you will see a lot of new names. And they all have very different investment thesis, type of startups that they invested, and the way that we work with startup. And in VC, just a bit of more terminology. There are 2 types of partners in VC. The first one is limited partner. They usually put the money. They are the money owner. They put the money. They only care about the ROI. They just invest like any other investment products, financial products. So I give you the money, and then how many years later you're going to give me back? Like how many times of that fund. And the second term is general partner. So general partner will be people who use the money and to make that investment decision. So general partner, they probably don't have the money itself, but they have very good relationship with limited partner who owns the money. And they will have a strategy to identify, cultivate, and make that risk, like lower risk investment decisions among all. So these will be VC. VCs in North America, like Silicon Valley, versus VCs in Asia. They have very different nature because I have been working with both. So I would say that VCs in North America, they are more optimistic. They will be willing to give you money because a very early idea that sounds promising. However, I think Asian VCs tend to value more on how much value that you already kind of prove or make in this market. So when you kind of try to engage VCs from both sides, maybe have a mindset of that so that you can kind of strategize your messaging or how you pitch them a bit more better. So the first one is corporate venture capital. So they're also a type of venture capital who owns the money and will invest you. However, they belong to a corporate. For example, Samsung, or I believe LG and any other like big conglomerates in Korea, they all have a VC firm, a VC arm. So these CVC, they will be looking out, I think specifically for the future of their own company. So it doesn't matter, maybe like they have a majority of concern or focus on their own future development, and maybe a bit more on other interest areas. But working with CVC, there is, in certain industry, there will be some tricky part. For example, in Taiwan, my previous employer, Lydia AI, used to kind of be approached by one of the biggest financial group. They wanted to invest in us. However, the thing or the problem with the financial groups is that they don't want to work with each other. So if you accept the money from the first financial group, maybe the second one they don't want to work with you anymore on the product level, on the customer level. So this could be tricky. Being invested by CVC is definitely a big deal because it basically probably indicates that you will be acquired and you will have your exit soon. But then it also has its tricky part that really depends on your context. And lastly, we have crowdfunding. This is a part that I actually know the least. Maybe there are experts who can share with us later. But I attended to one of the sharing of the very successful crowdfunding platform in Taiwan just not long ago. What I learned is that basically if you want to do crowdfunding for your startups, you have to do marketing before you even have your product. So that is an extra layer of knowledge, insights, and also have to know your customers very well. So play with different strategy and see which one works for you. Okay, so the next thing is, if you have an investor chat coming up, what are the things that investors are looking for in investment opportunities? So this is like totally coming out from my personal working experience. And I think in many scenarios, this is also a good structure to actually think about your own business if you want to start one. First one, they are looking for founders and team constitution. So basically, founders, like who you are, why is this you to coming up with this idea and want to execute it? And team constitution, because many of them are maybe not co-founders, but they are like executive level or management level or very like early stage team members. Why do they matter? Because in many of the pitch deck or many of the successful startups, they gather the best. The investor want to know you have the best brain. So you will see that many of the founders, they want their early team members to be coming out from big company. So they want your logo. They hire you because of your logo. So I was also hired because of one of my logo. I think I don't have to explain which logo it was, but it was the logo. So that was for the founder and team constitution part. Second thing is potential market size. Here, I think the investors, they mainly want to understand, if I give you money, how many times it could grow. So here, I don't want to kind of go too far on this end. But then if you are interested, you can try to Google, or you're preparing your pitching deck, make sure that you include your TAM Samsung. That's how they call it. So TAM Samsung is basically, TAM is total addressable market, SAM is serviceable addressable market, and SOM is serviceable obtainable market. So basically, in a simple human being world, it means first, you want to, TAM is the current need, market need that you have. It's only the need, like people need this product. And second thing, SAM is people who are ready to buy your product. And the last one, SOM, is within a short period of time, maybe like 1 to 3 years, how many people or how many customers can I get, within this period of time that can buy my product. So it will be eventually like 3 circles, specifically on your pitch deck. Third one is product market fit. And this one means basically if this product fits the market. And what I'm saying, if it just to give a simple example, is that if you're selling alcohol, make sure you are not selling alcohol to a country that prohibits alcohol or people don't actually drink. So that is the product market fit part. And the first one, competitive advantages, basically talking about your moat. So how much can you justify yourself? How much can you protect your own technology or product so that your competitors cannot surpass you in a short amount of time? And in many of the maybe LLM or like AI-based company, what their competitive advantages are actually the vertical data that they have. For example, you have a clinic, I have patient data, you have restaurants, I have my high-end customer data, etc. So these competitive advantages will help investor decide that if I give you money, will you die? How long can you survive into this market? That is one thing. And then traction. So traction means numbers, but it doesn't have to be revenue. It doesn't have to be how much money you already make, but it can be indirect statistics that shows that your business has the potential. For example, if you're building a dating app, how many users do you have right now? If you don't have active users, how many registered customers do you have right now? Or how many people have browsed or tried to download or clicked interested on any of your marketing sites? So these could all be tractions for you. Basically just to show the investors that I have the potential, so you have to believe me. I'm asking for time and money and your patience. That is the traction. And then vision alignment, basically it talks about the investment thesis. So basically if what you are doing right now matches, aligns with the investor's vision, then they will be more interested in you. Everything will be going more smoother, but then also like you have to do a lot of homework of what they actually care. So I think investment thesis or vision alignment is pretty kind of abstract on this table. So I actually captured the website of Samsung Venture to give you an example. So this is Samsung Venture's investment focus. So you can see that they have 8 fields that they are interested in. This is all public data, so you can just check on your own. So like Samsung, they are doing a lot of things. Why not, right? They're so big. So they focus on AI, energy, security, privacy, consumer devices. So if you have a startup idea and you're thinking about fundraising, make sure that you found a investors that matches, you kind of hit what they're thinking. I have some solutions that is working for robotics purpose and in which kind of market. So that's how you kind of fit in and also kind of customize your pitch deck into their investment thesis. So you can try. I think Samsung is more like they have a wide portfolio, but I do have seen that there are a lot of investors, they have a smaller focus. Maybe they focus only on fintech, only on, in Korea, I have heard that they have investors specifically for social enterprises, which is like kind of new to me. So you can survey on that. And the next thing we're talking about series. So it's very like more of a sharing of terminology. So when you talk about this startup or any startup with people, you understand what they mean and what the conversation is going. So in series, you will see that startups, we are seed round, we are series A, B, C, or plus. And basically, in each stage, you will see that the startup is a very different structure, their goal is different. So for example, in seed round, it will be the stage of proof of concept, like a lot of POC projects, prototypes just to testify the market and also the product market fit. And then in Series A, you might or might not obtain the first customers already. Here I put a mark because your first customers might not be your most targeted customers, but they are your first customers. And then with the first customers, you can start building your branding, your marketing. You started to collect real market feedback and then do your iterations. Basically, update your product, your features, remove, or based on your target customers, you find the best way to shape your product. And Series B, you have a clear customer segments, high growth, and you might already start your market expansion, and you have a more mature org chart. This one I will cover in the next slide. And Series C or plus, a lot of like already reaching to the almost unicorn level startups that are very visible internationally. Obviously, they have good business. They scale even faster, and they will probably start buying companies so that they can build a more total solutions to their target customers. So if you are job seekers, you know this because it will help you to kind of evaluate, is my current skill set or the things I'm looking for in a company, does this company have the offer for me? So as a founder, maybe you can also consider which series, to what extent can I start fundraising? To what extent can I scale? What it's like in general, what is the best time to scale, to expand market, to etc. And then on the bottom, you will see like some programs that I put here. It's just based on my experience that usually, if you heard about incubator, they are organizations that help to bring your startup from idea to an initial prototype. That is to help you build your seed team or seed round. And then you might want to consider to join an accelerator program, which has more resources, hands-on-hand mentorship, or a closer look at your product strategy. And these accelerator programs usually will be provided by investors. So they kind of play this game of, okay, I want to cultivate you and I might or might not invest on you so that you will kind of strive for that money. And usually if you join an accelerator program, one thing is that the investor will probably ask for a share in your company. That is something that a founder has to think about. And through all that, I believe in many parts of the world, the government is starting to notice this trend and wanted to help from a more official resources. So this is series. And then we move on to exit. So what does exit mean? Exit means founders and investors cash out. And here I want to mention 3 terms. First one is one of the most common way of exit is merger and acquisition. Startups are acquired by conglomerates or large tech companies for strategic expansion. And I think this one is more commonly understand. IPO, startups list on domestic or regional stock exchanges, which is a very rare case. But then people still, they have a plan. Everyone try to have a plan for that. The third one is more on a special type, but I guess it's like very commonly seen in North American markets right now. The full name of SPAC is Special Purpose Acquisition Company. So basically, you can imagine that there is a shell company who get their self unlisted first, but then they don't have a company, they don't have a product or anything else yet. So they buy another company who has a real product, customers, and the market, and to kind of combine itself so that the company will go as a seems successful and also on the public offering market. And I mentioned this not because I encourage people to do that, because that has the market constraints. A lot depends on the culture of the very optimistic North American investor type. But then I mentioned SPAC here because my previous companies, we studied a bunch of SPAC pitch decks. So if you're looking for a very good reference of successful startups pitch decks, you might want to search a SPAC pitch deck, and you have a ton of resources that you can study from. They are almost like all the startups are very famous, popular topic startups these days, and you can just look at how they pitched their investors previously. I think it's a good learning resources. But then, although we mentioned all this, not everyone has an IPO result. So most common situations are still acquisition and fail. So lastly, on the startup part, I would like to touch on the organization culture that I have accumulated in my experience. So the first learning is that a role is hired only when it's needed for quite a while. Here I highlighted quite a while is that if the role is only needed for like half year, maybe the startup will not hire this function. Instead, they will try to extend their internal resources to kind of cover up that work. So for certain roles or people with more skills, your roles and responsibilities could be constantly evolving. So take myself as an example. Although I was a marketer, but I have been doing marketing jobs / I help the company plan their office moving plan. Yeah, or maybe I went to negotiate the office operation deals, etc. So that is things that could be constantly changing and evolving. And usually when you hear the startup say that, oh, we're resilient, actually the hidden meaning is that we're chaotic. So just to be blunt on that. Yeah. Second thing is founders don't have the answer for everything. I believe the founders here will be agreeing with me on this. I think founders, a lot of them I talked to, especially this year, I don't know why. They will be talking to me about the members' attitude, basically. So founders, although they work with investors, they work with very high-level company-wide directions, but actually they know who is just like a 9-to-5 worker and who is having a startup mindset. So I would suggest that if you really want to join a startup, be ready for the chaotic situation. Be ready that your manager will not have an answer for you, but there is a problem that needs to be solved. So be proactive, show your accountability, and basically you can define your own growth rate or growth strategies. Last learning is that there is no best solution, only iterations and better solutions. In startup, we often talk about a term called post-mortem. Post-mortem means to have an analysis after something failed. And because every day could be a failure, and every day you could fail on something. But then I noticed that, because I have been in an organization with 2,000 employees versus maybe 20 employees, I kind of noticed a huge emphasis on post-mortem analysis because we try to learn a lot from our failures. What was the takeaway? And what was the thing that we still did a good job? And to kind of recognize that helps us to get back on track and then continue the energy and the power of our work every day. But it takes time. It takes time to kind of have that mindset towards failure. But for years of training, right now, I feel like even if I have really huge obstacles in life, I kind of see it in a lighter way. And I try to think about what was my takeaway. That actually impact my life model as well. So this is my lesson learned versus, I think, organizational culture. And lastly, to kind of wrap up, I have like one side for founder, one side for job seeker. So this side, as a founder, if you want to start a business, what to build, how to kind of get your inspiration. So a lot of startup founders actually they started a business from solving a simple problem, was a simple but very painful problem in their life. I think that's a very good way. But then if you want to be more strategic, you can also combine that inspiration versus the market data. So some of the founders, they leverage their background to identify vertical AI opportunities. I think the chart here might be a bit like small, but basically it's an investor article which shares on the left side. Maybe I'll use this one. Okay. So on the left side, you see that they analyze all the B2B software companies that are over $5 billion evaluation from the past 10 years. And so you will see that maybe the higher successful rate lies in vertical software. Of course, it's like a lot in many other verticals, but then vertical software. Vertical means that specific industry knowledge. So vertical software opportunities. And they zoom into vertical AI opportunity and further analyze it with another chart, which is using basically software's valuation versus the industry's AI readiness. What is AI readiness? It means that the industry has the infrastructure, the environment, the mindset, or even the data for AI to deploy and to kind of level up their games. So here you will see that a lot of market opportunity lies in finance. However, financial sectors have the comparatively lower AI readiness, but still there are a lot of innovation happening on this side. And healthcare has maybe a little middle level of like software evaluation, the market size, but it has a very high AI readiness. So I think it has the bias because I think this Felicis, they are a North American investor. I believe that some Asian data would also help for you guys to navigate your thoughts on how to position yourself the best way. And on the right side, I just wanted to share that if you don't have any idea or you want to start a drive but you don't know how to start, I think it's also a good way to observe ecosystem drivers and observe basically where the money flows to. So for example, you guys know Y Combinator, right? Y Combinator is basically where the OpenAI was born. And just to put it in a simple way, so they have like every year or maybe like every half year a batch announcement of startups that they're recruiting for, or batch of startups that people actually graduate successfully building a good product. So they have all this like healthcare sectors, consumer-facing sectors, supply chain, so that you can actually just Google and can understand those companies. What are they doing? What kind of innovation are they driving? So that you will have a better idea of how to design your own business opportunities. So these are some things that I sometimes, if I am doing a market research or I try to understand the trend of XYZ industry, I will start using these resources as well. So for the rest, people of the room, as a job seeker, why do I need to care about the startup session? Actually, you have to. I think it works well for me. So first, we talk about series, right? We talk about the funding stage. We talk about, so basically, if you know, our company is Series A, so you know what I mean. The company might not have the most mature organizational chart. Maybe you will experience some chaotic at work. However, you know, if the founder tells you, we just got the funding from where? What does that mean? It means that this is the time you ask for money. This is the time that you have the bargaining power. So cash flow, or you know that they're about to launch a product. So if you successfully join right now, that means that you are able to experience that product launching period that you can include in your CV for your next job. So it's actually like a better stage for the resume as well. Secondly is to understand the possible leverage of your compensation package. So here what I mean is that some people, they will have the belief that if I'm going to join a startup, I want to make sure that I join as early as possible. Because the stock options or the liquidity plan that you hold as an early member will be very impactful compared to the members who just joined like very later stage. So these are just like different beliefs that people hold. But basically, you can expect that if you used to work for big companies or traditional companies in Korea or any part of the world, you can expect that in startup, you can have an extra package that is not a cash yet, but has the possibility to be cash. Yeah. And lastly is the stage of the company decides how valuable you are to them right now. And now I know that this room, like you guys are not necessarily software engineer. So for example, if we talk about the stage of the company, if the company is still in a POC and product building stage, that means software engineers or people who are related to the product building will be highly valuable at that stage when you join. However, if the product is almost okay or already started to deploy to the customer side, sales and marketing will be highly valuable experience at this stage. So trying to play on these and strategize your own interview, and you know that actually this is true because the founder will be looking at the same thing in the same product, in the same startup stage. So I wanted to have a stop here because we kind of like sum up the startup section. Is there any questions or okay, please?
What made you decide to join media startup company? And the other question would be, what are the choices? How you make the choices to which company to join or which company to not? There are green flags or red flags. How you choose?
I see. Okay. For the first question is why do I join media? So before media I was working with Line. And Line is a very market-dominant company in Taiwan. By that, on the flip side, it means you will focus on this market. For me, because I have a language background, I always wanted to know more about the world that I don't know yet. So after 3 years, I think it's enough for training a skill set to a certain extent. So that's when I started to look out. Yeah, so NVIDIA, when we talk about it, although it was first year to launch the product in Taiwan, but I know that with the scale of the company and with the problem set that they are trying to target, Asia is the exact, or to be more correct, the scope. Yeah. And now, what things that I'm thinking to kind of make all the career decisions?
What's the process of choosing the right company to, let's say, if you are freelance right now, which company to consult, which company you want to. So, what's the process of it?
I think so far I used 2 qualifications so far. I'm not that popular right now, by the way. Not like everyone wants to work with me, yeah, but I'm lucky to have a few. For me, I have several career values that I always use to kind of analyze all the opportunities that I have. One of them, which is also a majority of that, is people's feedback. So that basically means my feedback towards this person or this person's feedback towards me. So I think who to work to is still, it's a huge percentage in my decision. Do I like to talk to this person? Do I like the way that he or she does things? The way of working, the way of thinking, the way he look at his difficulties at work. Yeah, so this is the first qualification. And second thing is that what do they do? Yeah. So if I have to kind of narrow that down to startup topics, actually I found myself it's an evolving process. I found myself easily interested in solutions or products that have a direct impact on people. So Lydia, as an example, I was there for 4 years. There was a reason, yeah. But I think having an impact on people's health, I think it's a good intention to bring and to invest your time and effort into the world. And on the flip side, very honestly, that some of the financial solutions, or I know in Korea a lot of startups are building like quant investment, like investment for investment and playing the money game. I know it has a deep knowledge on that, but when I look at those solutions, I feel less kind of intrigued or inspired. I don't have any other imagination. Yeah, probably because of my background in humanities, so I kind of will be drawn to people-related solutions. Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yeah, please.
Hi, this is Alicia. I'm a strategic business consultant and I have almost a decade of experience in it. I could relate to you because I've had that linear career graph, into core, finance, IT. So I have a question for you. Now you've worked for, I think, more than a decade, and now you're a freelance consultant, and I can relate because it's difficult for sure, right? How do you actually market yourself in Korea, especially because now I'm here? I would really want to understand how would you market yourself as a marketing consultant, and what are the do's and don'ts that you would like to share with freelancers or consultants like me?
Okay, thank you for your question. First of all, I haven't been doing freelance for that long. Yeah, I took a career break earlier this year from April to August-ish. But then after that, I started freelancing full time. I feel like first, these days I tend to think the life problem versus work problem together. So it's not just the work situation, but also my life situation. So I think about what kind of people I want to surround with. Like, if you are the average of the most closest people, 5 people of you, then who do you want to be surrounded with? What kind of topics you want to be involved in? And of course, there are a lot of really high risk but high growth opportunities out there. There are people who are playing fire every day. But then, do I want that, or do I think I vibe with those people? So I try to kind of use this scope to evaluate all the opportunities and also communities that I want to engage in. Yeah, so that is one thing. And did you ask how I market myself internationally? I think a big thanks to my previous employer that I really had a APAC-wide position. So I flew to countries to trade shows. I have to talk to customers or potential investors. That basically give me the exposure. But you have the exposure, you have to catch it, right? So in the latter part of this presentation, I wanted to cover more on that, how I use LinkedIn or coffee chat or any other small chats to actually keep that impressions good, for people who want to talk to you again, or to kind of filter out the opportunities that will be best position you in the best chance in your future. Yeah, so that's something that I'll be talking about more. Yeah, thank you. Hi. Oh, it's you.
Hi, I'm Kaya, and thank you for sharing your personal experience. Personally, it was really impressive because it motivated me to start learning new things, because I'm not in the IT field at all, but I'm an English tutor, and most of my students are in the IT field, and I thought it's the time to learn as an English tutor with developing kind of knowledge or something. So I am now learning about linguistic specialist, and I wonder, because you have a lot of variety of background in the language experience before, so I want to ask you, how do you see kind of language industry will go? Because there are a lot of bunch of stuff like translations tool, which is very great. So I just wonder how the language fields will be go, and how do you see the language specialist if you know much about this field?
I kind of need a second clarification of your first question. Like I didn't quite get it. You mean there are many tools?
Yeah, translations tools like ChatGPT or something. So I'm kind of afraid of a big. Yeah, right.
I see. Yes, I agree with you. I guess people are all panicking. Like software engineers are all as well, like panicking to be replaced by AI. And I believe every single career has its worry. And I think first I really want to say that today you have this awareness. You should give yourself a thumbs up already, because there are a ton of people who haven't think about this in their whole life or maybe in the future. So that is a good thing. And second thing is that I want to make sure that you also like you want to make sure that you are always on trend, right? If there is even if there's new tools, new technology, you still want it to be valuable. So in order to achieve that, you have to know what kind of things or skills or personality traits that you are valuable of, and try to kind of along this line, each line, you try to develop interconnected, experience with things that you are interested. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Although it sounds a bit like fussy or like a bit of everything in every field, but right now I'm actually really trying to put some thoughts about. For example, I do marketing as a professionally definition. But then in the marketing job, I find myself really enjoying and really good at communication. So basically I can make people change their mind or make people feeling inspired so they want to work with me. But that is not necessarily marketing. So where can I use that? Maybe I can do public speaking by work, or maybe I can do counseling, maybe I can be a teacher. Yeah, things like that. So it doesn't have to be a certain type of job, but you try to think about the skill set combination together. For example, in my career counseling client, one of them maybe they are software engineer, but they find, I'm actually very interested in teaching people. So what is the combination of teaching and software engineer? Maybe you can become an academy teacher that teach software engineering. You doesn't have to code, but you teach people how to code because you are using your best skills, that is to teach people. Yeah, and we all know that the best teacher does not do the job the best. So find your edge. I think you will need some time to actually figure out your kind of inner self. What am I good at? What do I want to do? Because the things that you're good at, maybe you don't want to do. Yeah. So I see your question as a good question, but it's also very complicated to answer in a short time. Yeah. But maybe you can chat later. Yeah. Thank you.
This is Divyansh. As a tech founder, I have built the product, and after that, I start reaching people. I build a product, and I think that it can solve a problem. I start reaching people in the same domain, doing cold emails and LinkedIn and other things, going to events and other things. But then I realized that it's not that easy to reach out people and have their perspective, even not to do sales, but to have a perspective to check a product market fit.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is that because I also do a full-time job, so it's not that easy to manage everything, that doing tech and then doing sales or trying to do sales. So how can I get a person who is passionate enough in sales and marketing as I am passionate in tech? And if not a person, how can I try to do these kind of things so I can have some leads
Okay. So you're thinking how to kind of grow your side business, which you eventually want to switch to
Yeah.
your own thing. And now you are struggling with the sales and marketing process. You're thinking whether I should hire somebody to do that or I should do it by myself.
I can't hire because I don't have any revenue.
Mm.
But I can't hire because I don't have any revenue. But the thing is that, like for example, I have built it because I know tech. Maybe someone can join me because they know marketing and sales, and we can maybe divide the profit or maybe decide what can be the future of the company. But as of now, if I don't have that person, how should I reach out to people so they can just give me a profit? Maybe I don't want to sell. I just want to check the product market fit first, whether the people in the same domain are getting attracted to that or not. Is the product really solving a problem, or is just mine because I built it?
Okay, I see. So you're trying to do like market validation process, and you don't know how to kind of best position it. I think one advice that I can give for you right now is that you can just do a simple thing. Talk to people who you think will be your target customer. If you are building a coffee cup mug, like a tumbler, talk to people who are potentially using a tumbler. Yeah, so that would be like, the good thing is that you will get very direct feedback of what their pain point is and what kind of people are they. Maybe there is a specific type of people that wants to own the tumbler. It's just you don't know yet. So talk to your customer. I think I recently watched a video talk, like a YouTube talk about like what is the one thing that founders should consistently doing at the booming day of AI today. One of the advice is that to keep a very close relationship with your customer. So know your customer well is always kind of like the tier 1 principle that I guess every product builder or not even founder should know. Yeah, I think that could be a good starting point. And I have seen recently, I made a new friend who has a title of GTM engineer. So basically they are engineer, but they do go to market. Yeah, so I think with the NA end, you have a lot of potential to work as a sales and marketing professionally, but from a software engineering side. But how do you kind of build that? By interviewing a lot of your customers. I think that could be a short answer for now. And to talk about the hiring, I think one thing that early stage hiring, you really have to value that. With money or not, I think you think about how much mutual value is it. Yeah, I think I see that you have a good mindset that, okay, we share interests, but I give you this, you give me that. Yeah, I think that could be a good strategy. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Nora. Thank you for the presentation. I'm Hassan, and software engineer. So, in your speech, you mentioned about when you do some in your startup-related experience, you did post-mortem term. You use this. I heard this term before by another senior engineer. Could you please break down this, how simply conducted or how it's simply done?
So basically it's post-mortem. Sometimes we do it before the product launch or feature launch. Sometimes we do it afterwards. So post-mortem analysis is that before I actually push this product to the market, if it happens before pushing to the market, is that it's basically thinking about all the worst case situation that you will have. For example, I pushed it, I did my study of the product market fit, I thought I found my target audience, but when I launched to the market, nobody buy it. Why? So think about the potential why. So potential why could be, first, it's COVID time, nobody goes to the physical store. And second, it's because you are targeting women audience, but your products are always shown in the men category. Things like that. Try to come up with possible ways to fail so that you can anticipate it. So what if we actually go into this way of failure? And what are the like precautions or things that we can do right now to actually prevent it. That is before the product launch. And after product launch, it is actually post-mortem. So if there is any failure, you kind of force the whole team to look at the problem together. What did we learn? And what are the things that we did good? However, there are things we didn't do a good job. So those scenarios, you list it out, because if it's post-launch, you already have the post-mortem scenario. So post-mortem scenario could be after the product launch, you realize that nobody's buying it, and you know the way that you launch it, so you kind of reverse engineer to understand what problem was it. So it comes down to, I think every function in a startup could have a say of this. For marketing, we do sales funnel or marketing funnel analysis, the diagnosis that I mentioned in my first slide. So basically you break down the product selling process into awareness, consideration, and decision. So where or how the customers are will be aware of this product, and what kind of things that they will include in the thought of consideration, what kind of product they will compare with, and what makes them make that emotional decision to buy the product. So this is from only the marketing point of view. Then you may have a point of view on sales side, from product side, from technical, or any other perspective. Thank you. Okay, so we continue. Okay, so in the second section, it's even more personal. Like, I want to help level up your job hunting. Or if you are a founder, I want to help building the supporting network for your startup. So, to everyone, I think interview starts way before your first recruiter chat, if you are visible online, because everyone apparently apply a job online, right? So here my advice would be, first, if you don't have a LinkedIn profile, build your LinkedIn profile right now. I know that a lot of fellow Korean workers here, you guys have a very different job website that you use to navigate your job and apply and network with. But then I do heard from the audience feedback that a lot of people are actually looking for international company jobs or positions or opportunities. So LinkedIn will be the destination. It's the one and only that I think you should put effort on. And this is the thing. Second thing is that once you build your LinkedIn profile, I encourage you to write the thing only you can talk about. What does that mean? For example, I am a marketer from Taiwan, but I did international business before. So I can write marketing content or marketing takeaways that I learned from Taiwan versus South Korean market. That makes me stand out. So what is it to you? I don't know, because I don't know your background. So you can write anything, but this is the one piece of advice that I can give you, because it kind of helps you to stand out from a peer that shares this very similar background. I believe there are many people who share a similar background with you. So write things only you can talk about. This is also a piece of advice that I will give to the founders that I work with, so that they can kind of have a higher visibility among their peer founders. And then thirdly is to reach out to hiring managers, founders, or future coworkers. So this thing, I think it works pretty well in very early stage startups, because these startups, they don't have 100 resume receipts per day. But if you kind of reach out with a very personal, nice message, I think there's a high chance that you will pick up and you will have a chance to talk to the hiring managers. So how does that happen? I don't know how common you can see this, but I just wanted to show you how I actually use LinkedIn to land on my job. And here I have two approaches. The first one is a job seeker mode. So I want to look for a job. What did I do? And the next slide will be a personal branding mode. That is I do something a bit of every day, but then it kind of gives me the job opportunity. So let's talk about a more traditional approach, job seeker approach. So here you will have the journey of reading the job posting, initiate your application and have the interview period for weeks or months, and then you get the offer. So first, in the job posting stage, once I kind of feel like interested in the job and I really want to get it, I will try to identify the most possible or the most helpful person to talk to. Who are they? The most helpful person could be your friend of a friend who used to work in this company, or it could be someone who already worked in this company. And the second thing is to strategize your cold message. So next step is clear. So this one, I roll back to the first one. I want to add something. So basically, this screenshot is my message conversation with Deborah. So Deborah is a real person that I messaged her to get referral. But why I pick her? The strategy that I pick Deborah is that I was actually applying for a Korean company, and I noticed that Deborah, similar to me, she has an international working experience, and she is pivoting her career as well. Because for me, in this specific intention, I was looking for a non-marketer job. However, I noticed that Deborah also pivoted from a very sales or service-oriented position to somewhere that is more strategic level and leadership type of position. So notice this similarity in our backgrounds. I figured that she could be helpful. And eventually she was helpful. Like she referred me into the company and I went through all the interviews very well. And secondly is strategize your cold message so your next step is clear. So what do I mean by this? Just to give you an example, if you are one day you're walking on the street and somebody just stop you, hey, do you have a second? What would you do? Maybe you don't know what to do, right? Maybe you will just walk away because it's a question that is open-ended. I don't know what you want. But then if the person just stop you, hey, do you know the time right now? So that you will just automatically, maybe you don't even notice yourself, but you check your phone, you check your watch. So that is the first question that you want to give your potential coffee chat, because it will be easier for people to say yes or no to you. And I believe that people with a certain amount of working experience have received a lot of message from stranger or even from email, and you know how to better strategize your message. And then in the application period, I try to analyze my hiring manager by background, career path, and career status. Here, to borrow the example of Deborah again, that's how I kind of match my own personal backgrounds with her so that I feel like she would understand me. And whatever you try to do, I think you try to leave a good first impression in your interview process. So what does that mean? It means that maybe you want to identify common grounds in your career path, or you want to identify how you could best help this person in the future at work. For example, if this hiring manager just turned into a manager, maybe he wants to have someone that he or she wants to have someone that is easier to talk to, easier to work with, instead of have a very good skill. Because he is just a new hiring manager. He wants to manage someone without hurdles. And career status, that's career path, career status, basically talking about that. Second thing is observing the hiring trend of this company, but it implies that how much value your background can add. For example, if you are software engineering and you have a specific field of project that you have been investing time to do for a long time, and you identify that is the exact gap of all the software engineering backgrounds or academic backgrounds that they don't have. So you can fit in that gap. You can strategize this and talk about that because you study the company, you have seen all the employee profiles. But basically, a lot of people, they put their career trajectories on LinkedIn, so it's a good place to play around. So you kind of evaluate how much value you can add to this bunch of people who has the academic background or even nationality, for foreigners to navigate themselves into Korean company, or even what kind of experience that you have in your previous career. Lastly, if it's a startup, evaluate the company using filters that I shared in previous session. Which stage is it? Do they have the funding? If they don't have the money yet, it's very hard to talk about money. Yeah, lastly, I did this seriously before. Before the offer and before my final presentation of a certain position, I actually invite a coffee chat to verify the founder and to verify the team and culture if it's true. And that actually helped me stand out in the final presentation because I kind of knew who I was competing with at the moment without even asking all the interviewers in the room. So that is the job seeker approach. Another approach I think fewer people are doing, but I think it's very worth trying because these days LinkedIn algorithms are prioritizing personal posts over company posts. So here you will have this journey of regular posting from time to time, and then you have your career milestone update, and then you enter maybe possible collaboration discussion. Okay, almost. Yeah. And then maybe you can get offer or collaboration opportunities. So regular posting, I know, I talked to a lot of people. I think it's the kind of like a mindset change. A lot of people think that if I keep talking about what I have done at work, would it sound flexing? I'm not usually a proud person, who always talk about myself. But trust me, it's not flexing because for LinkedIn, it is training the algorithm to make it prefer you one day if you want to make important announcement. And it is adding your visibility towards the potential hires because you never know who is watching and who is reading your content. And these days, a lot of people are saying that with the advancement of interviewer and interviewee tools built by AI, a lot of people they apply for jobs using AI. Basically, those job postings are not even for job posting or searching for a job. So the real job actually comes to you from time to time. So why they come to you? Because you are findable. So make yourself findable. I think that is the purpose of regular posting. And then I actually made that regular posting for the past maybe 4 years. And now earlier this year I had a career milestone update that I left VBI. I had a career break about what did I do, what did I achieve throughout the process. And with that post, it doesn't have a crazy amount of likes, like 150, but then it got me at least 10 chats from the headhunter or the recruiters. I think it's very effective if you really want to try out this personal branding approach. But I think there's a huge prerequisite of this approach is to know yourself very well so that you know what kind of things that I can write to help me stand out. So a quick, okay, I will have to fast forward. This is a chart from market positioning strategy, but it helps you picture your future daily life. Kind of echoing the previously mentioned concept of which stage the company is in. So basically in this strategy, you will see there is 4 type of company stages that kind of match their product involvement or their market expansion process. From technology enthusiasts to visionaries to pragmatists to conservative. Basically from the left to right, it means from the early stage to the more mature stage, from the early market to mature market. So the more mature the market goes, you know that the product will be more stabilized. So you will do more of a maintenance instead of having new innovation or having a lot of new ideas going on. So if you really want to kind of test out your best ideas, you want to contribute to the formation of the product, make sure that you move into a startup that has all this trait that we mentioned before. Okay, this book is called Crossing the Chaser. Highly recommend. And I do a few things that help me stand out and turn the interviews into partnership building process. The first one is to understand the bigger company context so that every chat you feel like you are talking about as a boss. Why? Because they can see your potential. Maybe you are just a fresh graduate. Maybe you are still studying. But doing that preparation and homework helps people to know that you are aiming for something bigger. Secondly is to utilize indirect data. Here I mean Crunchbase, which is a startup, basically like a catalog that you can find all sorts of information of a certain company, especially startup. SimilarWeb, which actually used as a marketing tool to analyze how many traffic going into a website. But I found that if you are applying for a B2C startup or business, analyzing their website using SimilarWeb could be a very good kind of market research or interview preparation data. Glassdoor, I don't have to say. LinkedIn premium version, yes. So you know how much bargaining power you have for this specific chat. And lastly is to talk about your why. I think to talk about why you want to solve this problem, why you choose this field, why you want to engage with this bunch of people, is a huge differentiator when everyone plus AI can do a very good job than yourself. Yeah, so this is our last slide. I wanted to use a mini story that kind of sums up. So when I just graduated as a linguistic bachelor degree student, I received a lot of asks. So people ask you, oh, language is just a tool. What would you like to do with it? Finally, today, I'm not the only one who will receive this question. People from all the disciplines, they will got asked, software engineering is just a tool. What would you like to do? Economy or finance is just a tool. What would you like to do with it? I think this is a $1 million question that I want to kind of give it to everyone, and also I'm thinking about it in every transition as well. What kind of purpose that you were serving for? And I remember that when I had one of the interview was actually someone who was the first company member of Uber in Taiwan. She was also the first 300 member globally in Uber. And then she told me that one of the decision-making guidelines that she has been using after leaving Uber is actually she wanted to look for a purpose. Because after Uber, people want her to join Google, to join Meta, to join blah, blah, blah. But it's also another Uber for her. But what does she want to do? So she decided to work for a purpose. And she stays in startup until now as well. So I think that piece of advice of working for a purpose has been keeping me going for a long time. And also, plus, aside from purpose, what kind of lifestyle that you want to live? Because nowadays that all the working culture, all the working tools and skill set are being redefining. What kind of things that you are looking for in your life? And what kind of purpose, what kind of goal you want to help yourself achieve and kind of have that meaningful value to yourself and to the people surrounding you. Yeah, so this $1 million question sending to you all. And I'm happy to receive more questions after the session finish. Yeah, so that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you so much. I have the thank you slide.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nora, for your talk. It was very, very informative for me, too. And thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. And thank you, everyone, for coming. One more round of applause for Nora, guys. All right, so last thing I want to share before I let everyone go. These sessions are long, but it's because we have a lot of information to share always, so it's great. If you do want to stay engaged with Code Soul, we do have our own Discord server. If you would like to get on Discord, we have... Oh, no, wrong button. I swear I know how to use a computer. Okay. Good enough. If you want to join our Discord server, you can go ahead and scan this QR code. If you're not familiar with Discord, it's just another voice and text chatting application. We have a bunch of channels in there. I think there's like a pets channel and like games channel, all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Also our tabletop RPG channel, I think we have one. But yeah, feel free to join that, especially if you want to get in touch with people here. Nora, should we share your LinkedIn or yeah, share it in the.
I have the thank you slide, and it has
it's in the thank you slide.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Did you just?
Yeah, I hit the wrong button. I'm so sorry.
Just scroll to the last, and then I also have my email there.
There we
so
go.
That, yeah.
Okay. And then also make sure to so thank you again to and from Nora, and you can find her email there, or you can search her up on LinkedIn.
Can we get the whole slide PPT?
Sorry?
Can we get the whole presentation?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. And also the we did record this whole, or we are recording this whole thing. And it is on the CodeSoul YouTube, so if you want to go back, you're like, oh, she said something really cool, but I don't remember what she said. You can go to YouTube, you can search for CodeSoul, and if you look under live videos, you can find this. I did miss the intro part where you were talking about, where you were asking people what their backgrounds were, but we got everything else, so I apologize for that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you again, everyone, for coming. Thank you again to Nora, and I encourage everyone to make groups and go grab some food. We do have to be out of here in 7 minutes, but beyond that, thank you, everyone.
We're talking in the lobby.
Yeah, we can talk. Yeah, so we can chat outside a little bit, and then I do recommend forming groups to go get food together because it's late and I'm sure a bunch of people are hungry. So thank you again, Nora, and thank you everyone for coming. Cool. Let me kill the recording.
I think we